McKen Law Firm at 509-765-4451. Fax 509-765-1618, which is fax. Phone number is 509-765-4451. Confirmation, verification, exclusion, service from FedEx, UPS, confirmation, signature, UPS, signature, confirmation, verification on that policy, regulation, service of the McKen Law Firm. You know, Donald Trump has this administrative policy. We're in Grand County Courthouse at 56 C Street, which was right Mr. Brooks Athletic Club, Mike Celtic. Brooks Athletic Club has George Washington Nat House right across the street from Grand County, 56 C Street, which is the corner block of that entire service of Brooks Athletic Club. The blower, lawnmower, and that service of blowing the entire block of Freda. The Grand County Courthouse is right across the street. So we got the YouTube URL of video conversation, Mr. Waltz, Mrs. Clement Harris, Mr. Donald J. Trump. And Donald J. Trump has Mr. Policy, Regulations, and Services of Vice President Services. Yeah, privacy enactments. Mr. Donald Trump is very concerned because the Vice President's and Services of Privacy enactment, the President of the United States, Executive President, his references as being the 45th President of the United States of America. Joe Biden has no references. For that fact, simply fact of that contributing a service and policy regulation for Donald J. Trump, being a representative services, he has to go into the administration office. Remember the assassination plot of July 13th of 2024? And Donald J. Trump and Mr. McKinnon has a Zoom verification, disclosing service and policy regulation, the service and policy regulation service, and the regulation and service, you know, the doormat, the carpet, doormat, the policy regulation of the area of McKen Law Firm, of Zoom, Lens, and Microsoft components, Windows 10, Windows 11, and also the Chromebook DVR Chromebook service of the administration office and carrying a service center. Well, you know, we're going to say, you know, the law firm has the outside and inside of the criteria of the video of McKen Law Firm and how they process the internet cable and then before and after July 13th and assassination. And then they attempted to kill Donald Trump at a golf course resort, simplifying the incumbents of society of bringing documents and services of caskets and urns and J. Mueller's funeral, Rhonda Kaiser's funeral, which is located below. See this visual of Rhonda Kaiser's funeral? Right below is Rhonda Kaiser's Chapel Falls. That's Kaiser's Chapel Falls. Rhonda Kaiser's funeral, you know, J. Mueller's funeral home at 421 South Union. We got that on Grand County Courthouse. We got it inside the Mercedes-Benz company on Clearwater. Now, Mercedes-Benz in Clearwater has this affidavit. Policy regulations from a CDL license requirement, which is $35. You know, we all know what Rhonda Kaiser's funeral home looks like at 831 Pioneer Way, Rhonda Kaiser's funeral. And that's that's Rhonda Kaiser's, you know, a funeral home parlor and policy regulation, a jet engine that was paid for in full. You know, we got Windows installments, Microsoft Windows 10, 11, and also PNY Windows 10, 11, and also the cremator and the jet engine recorded at J. Mueller's funeral and Pasco Mueller's funeral on Court Street. See the transporting from the airport, from a Pasco airport to a funeral home parlor to Rhonda Kaiser's funeral. You know, Batesville, Indiana, the contract, they abided that service and policy regulations. So they get that, see that beautiful jet engine? That service of that jet engine there? Amplified by Microsoft company, Mr. Bill Gates in 1835, and also Mr. Don't forget, Donald J. Trump. He's a 45th president. He has references and chopping it up with Mr. Joe Biden and Mr. Clement Harris and J.D. Waltz and their service policy regulation of the policy regulation of this jet engine. you know, their assassination attempt, you know, ratifying the Area 831 Pioneer Way, which is around the Kaiser Freedom. We see this beautiful landscape of 831, and which is, as you can late, you see the body and the circumference of the crematorium memorial service, and also the gravel pit that they use for bringing the service to Brokendale. See, they cover their ASSES, you know, butts up, because they can bring the gravel, the pit, the equipment, and then get close to the sod pit. The sod, which is covered, is a, you know, a burial 6 feet deep, monocell concrete monoxide and monocell monoxide, and also the service and policy regulations of a depth liner and concrete liner. See, you got a burial, sod farm, you know, in Othello, Washington, and they got gravel pit, and got a gravel pit, got a sod farm, got sod all over, you know, use it as soil, compost, manure, nitrogen pellets. It's used as a nutrient. And we pulled all this up because the service of a McKenna law firm, you know, they bring in the artifact of bringing data, information, which they tried many times. Now, July 13th of 2024, killing Mr. Donald Trump in the old-fashioned manner of Commonwealth, Pennsylvania. And we got Mr. Policy Regulations, Mrs. Donald Trump. Mrs. Donald, she Googled. She penetrated in telling the ways of how all the agencies and service authorities were knowing for the fact that this gentleman was on a roof with the AR-15, like they did at the Moses Lake Police Department at the GTA bus station, number 30, number 20, and number 10, in a freighter bus in Grand County Courthouse, connected to Mr. McKenna Law Firm in July 2022, 23, and 2024. See, we got signature confirmation verification and bringing Felix Barela into Mr. McKinnon's vehicle, driving toward, and that's the number 30 West bus, and the number 20, afraid of Cranton County. I got off the bus, went to the Pasco Policy Regulation and Service of a funeral home, which is Mueller's Funeral Home, to get this jet engine, which is, right? Parallel, right? From this grave, right? This grave mount? Parallel to a cremator jet engine around the Kaiser's Freedom, right? Around the Kaiser's Freedom 831 Pioneer Way, right? And then got a gravel pit, right? Right here. They used to fill the Brokendale policy regulation of the service of penetrating into the driveway and their service and bringing their equipment in here. And try to get close in their service and data information transaction reports from an electrical pole. And then the confirmation signature from Mr. Donald Trump and Mr. John McKinnon's office, right? And then they try to get saturated information and policy regulation and service with the information center with Google and Bill Gates Foundation and Service Administration Office. You know, this boot's warranted for life. You know that? And then the services and policy at the 712 Okanagan Place, Kenneth, Washington, Benton County Justice Department, judges, chambers, commissioners, and also a brand new building built. Presidential primary election. And then they got the election building built up in every shape and way. Built up. These are the boots. These are the warranted service of the policy regulations of all that snow, plow, salt, mixing. Now that McKenna Law Firm and that gravel pit and that grave, that little grave, bringing that, trying to get that data, policy regulations of Melania and Donald Trump. I mean, the successes and connections and services at Grant County Courthouse. And then they come in here in the wintertime and steal information from the data and make things up and bring a sanctuary to their service, bringing administration office to their discretion. Now, pulling these weeds out, pull all the saturated data information they recorded, which they drive through here, trying to retain and take information and discrepancies and make things up, you know, recording information and download information. How they make things up. We got phone calls, conversation, McKenna Law Firm. And this internet transfer stated information that's used because Mr. Donald Trump, Vice President, wants privacy in service and in terms of people taking in files and systems, administration office. How Melania took a state address, let him know that Donald Trump was killed and left for dead. You notice this road goes all the way to the back from McKenna Law Firm, how they come here and make things up, driving through here, policy, no warrants, no issuing warrants, and coming in illegally, coming here, making things up, and bringing video confirmation at the courthouse in Grant County and Benton County Justice Department, Kenneth, Washington, 71112 Oakland Place, Kenneth, Washington, 509-735-2591, fax 509-736-3866. And then they come here and pull things out of here that don't belong to them and drive off with it, shortchanging Mr. McKenna. Mr. McKenna's damaged every shape and way and form because of it. And there's a debt restitution outstanding, which is a federal offense. You got George Washington, you got Abraham Lincoln, you got monuments, you got pictures, photographs, you got images of the damage and rest of the outstanding service that's missing, and pulling information, pulling things out of here. Has a kitchen, kitchenette, refrigerator, supplies, towels, toilet paper, and also computer internet services, you know, copy machines, HPs, and implemented their service for the McKenna Law Firm. And it's making all kinds of things up here, every way, shape, and form. The property line and the services and policy regulation, you know, outstands the markings. Emblems of McKenna Law Firm, McKenna, David, where they figured that Mr. McKenna, Mr. Carla McKenna, and nobody's here in the office, so they can come here and take everything they get their hands on and bring the penetration of their service, of their data, and downloading and substituting their service administration off at the Grant County Courthouse, which George Washington is the founder, President of the United States of America, and also the policy regulation and policy regulations of misusing the system in every shape and way and form. Oh, we got video, we got content information, we have this is discretionary. You know, they do that because that person that they have, they put them in a facility, try to incarcerate him and close bars when they can't do nothing in any way, shape, or form. So they figure they can get away with anything, you know, drive off the tractor, put it in the backhoe, and start it up, and back rear end it, and tow it off, and just like the supplies that they pulled off already, making a report up and trying to make things up every way, shape, and form. International 3000, Harvester. Then we got this tree. See this tree? We got this video tree on video. This power pole we take, record that information, and information's hanging off the ladder, which is now missing. Say they put upon themselves of coming through here. We have to dig everything out because they broke into the house and brought their increments of society of their hands and signal services, and we have building permits. We're at the Freda City Hall, Freda Grand County Courthouse, and Benton County Justice Department put it on URL video. Put this tree on YouTube, right? All the data information where they cut the limbs and trees on YouTube. And then take information items off the computer server. 1835 73rd Avenue, Bill Gates himself. See, we got the information right there. See how they disconnected that line right there? As soon as I get onto the tree, they come here and cover their butts up. They got recorded information, huh? You know, the power bill and the Vista bill and propane bill and companies and businesses. All that data and information will belong in way, shape, and form. See all that data that they took off the pole? And all the trees I cut down and shrubs that don't belong to them. You know, the soil and compost that's illustrated, YouTube on URL. See, these trees are cut down for a reason. saturated soaking of the brand new soil that's been overturned, brought to bringing the executive order by Donald J. Trump. Brokendale carries a service here at Brisbane, Washington. And at Brokendale, we can't offer him carries the executive order. In the presidential primary election, two concerns. Ken law firm at a law firm. Donald J. Trump carrying we got Donald Trump, executive order carrying the President of the United States. He wants to become President of the United States of America, bringing the sanctuary of his service to the United States of America, presenting our archive information center. Of course, Ivanka Trump, Melania Trump, making statements, and of course, Donald Trump. We got Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr., Melania, Eric Trump, Ivanka Trump, Prince, also the Queen of London, and the Miller's Jewelry Store. YouTube information, URL of the Grand County Courthouse, Mr. Joe Biden, Policy, Regulation, and Services. Running for President tonight, President of the United States of America, against Mr. Donald J. Trump. Now it's Kamala Harris and Mr. Waltz. We got Donald Trump. His president has an income society of being a nominee of Republicans for the second time. And also Ronald Reagan, George Bush Sr., Jr., and Mr. Nixon, and the Vice President. All five of those heads of government. Old-fashioned picture, of course. And we got Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, George Bush Sr., and of course, George Bush Sr., and Jimmy Carter, and Bill Clinton, and of course, only black president nominated as President of the United States, Mr. Obama. Mr. George Bush, beautiful man, beautiful man. Is all this information, data. got this great. Took all this data information. I mean, go to the golf course resort and try to take this information, this gravel pit as well, along with information and data they did, try to infiltrate as themselves as a dynasty of coming out of heaven, landing on earth, and being an angel of God, a guardian from heaven, being kicked out of heaven, and then bringing the testimony of their service of Donald J. Trump and Melania Trump, Mariana Trump Jr., Mariana Trump Berry, and Melania Trump's biological mother, and also the service and policy regulation of Donald Trump, Ivanka Trump. She was found dead at the basement. Her body was moved to different locations. And recorded information, download submitted, and bringing her dead body to a basement, and where she was discovered at first. And then they dragged her body around, ended up at Brokendale. She was at a Richland Brokendale on Washington, George Washington Way, Richmond, Washington, 99352, Federal Courthouse. Mr. Ryan Lutz, Norman Rodriguez, Eric I. Singer. See, we have testimony of giving her food and testimony and service, having her billionaire, millionaire friends show up at Richland and have a little party gathering. Because I love studying law, again, law, putting on YouTube and URL, downloading information, submitting, and discovery how they treat Mrs. McKinnon, Carla McKinnon, like garbage. Taking her sanctuary and trying to take her testimony and service and bringing their service to a service of the Mueller's Premium at 835 Way. J. Mueller's Premium, creaming her jet engine. See, nobody won't take testimony and service because their hands, their biological equipment in hands, a phone call conversation that they have, administration office. And then taking 43rd President, I'd say George Bush, go to City Hall in Kennewick and YouTube that information. And then taking the information of Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter, George Bush Jr., and Senior, and Obama. Taking those photographs of service, basketball, football, powerlifting, Gold's Gym, swimming, through long periods of time, and also cattle advisory programs, extensions and service of Benton County Justice Department, and also the Grand County Courthouse, and Brooks Athletic, Mike Self, bringing his sanctuary service, and Mr. McKinnon, Mrs. McKinnon. That's how they tossed her down the boat and tossed her in the cremator and the jet engine, and take her testimony and service and take their equipment and try to scoop all this stuff and eradicate information, and make a testimony and take the gravel that they don't even possess in their service, and then come inside the house and record the information, and take the video increment, take a society of power poles, electricity, and data, and reverse information and transport information legally. We have to do this at Grand County Courthouse, and then Ronald Reagan. These are the presidents of Mr. 45th President, Mr. Donald Trump, represent his face, his recognition of services, attorney fees and services, showing him McKenna Law for calling July 13, 2024, and also the policy regulation verifying disclosure information in service of the privacy actions against the vice presidents and service income society's his assassination plan, trying to shut him up, and Melania Trump, and Mr. McKinnon, and Carla McKinnon, and bringing the sanctuary of services and service and business license and service income society of years and years and 100 years, 200 years, 300, go all back in your archive information. Try to just penetrate the system by just overlapping from the soil, sod, and soil, and gravel, and backhoe, hydraulic equipment, power equipment, transmission fluid, and override information, their service, and that. And Mr. Biden, vice president, his vice president, Ms. Kamala Harris, running for president, and Mr. Joe Biden. This is the 46th president of the United States of America. So his service and policy regulation, his service in JD University, Mr. Donald Trump and the Queen of London. That's Donald Trump, Tiffany Trump, Ivanka Trump, Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr. The whole shenanigan, the whole wagon, the whole shenanigan, right there, the whole 9 yards, the society. Again, call him Trump. My Trump. Now we got the information, of course, Mr. Jonathan carries out. It's COVID-19 policy regulation services. Very much of the testimony of the administration office carrying that executive order. Carrying the executive order with much of the administration office of Donald J. Trump. So we get it a lot. Doing the job well paid, bringing the administration office, Mr. Jonathan, Parliament Kennedy, witness testimony of mileage, hydraulic fluid. Then bring the administration office to its successors, Mr. 43rd President George Bush, taking that YouTube URL to extremities, and of course Obama and George Bush Senior, Jr., and Jimmy Carter, and also Bill Clinton, and also the Service of Policy Regulation, to bring the information of the 5 heads of government, one's vice president, and the rest of Mr. Nixon, Mr. Ronald Reagan, Mr. Jimmy Carter, Mr. George Bush Senior, and Mr. Ronald Reagan. We got the 46th president, Mr. Joe Biden. You know, the policy of data information has been operated in this service of this president, and of course the Queen, monitor, testimony and policy regulations and service and bringing administration to successors in Mr. George Bush and Melania, and the income society conversations, and premium services and policy, and service of Donald Trump, and also a conversation merging and putting them in a selection service and policy regulation agreement, policy and regulation of successor, COVID executive order, authorized George Washington, the President of the United States, and Abraham Lincoln, and Mr. Nixon, and remember Mr. Roosevelt, and the policy and regulation on these society of change, and income society of the tide of the North Atlantic, NATO, Geneva Convention, and Summit. Now, this Geo Summit review and service and policy regulations. Mr. Bill Gates is original policy regulations. He will be original. He's still original. And bringing income society, building his system in Microsoft, and by hand, by truth, by documentation, just like Donald J. Trump did. And bringing his service to policy regulations that authorize all that. See, that testimony, they won't come out here and do the testimony because they're going to make things up and bring agencies and court information, make things up. The tree that originally provided by that contract, this is Donald Trump. So you have contracts, that phone, and the internet cable that authorized that service. That ladder and that OSHA ordinance and policy regulation bring that testimony. Melania Trump, Donald Trump, Melania Trump, and Mr. 43rd President George Bush himself. George Bush, President of the United States of America, 43rd President, Kenneth Washington, Kenneth Command, the UFO, the UV UFO, and the live alien. A live alien was taken from the property at Grand Randy Estates in Columbia Park. It's called the Kenneth Command. It's on all the libraries, historic. It's the 43rd President. United States of America. See that document, that photo, that service, first name, UBI number 602-72097, Mr. McKenna Law Firm, Carla McKenna, 704 East Olive, Moslake, Washington. Washington Bar Service, sheet 13294, 509-765-4451, fax 509-765-619. See that artifact of hands and garments and service of cut all the shrubberies and taking the alien and taking the contents of the UFO. Real UFO, a real alien UFO, and also services of vegetation service was eradicated, removed. So the whole place smelled like Felix. See, like the Vet County Jasper and Grand County Courthouse, the George Washington, the Gonzaga University, and Eastern University smell like Felix because the removal, the destruction, the renovation, the rebuild, the sod, the rocks, the soil, the shovels, equipment, supplies, the power equipment, earth mover, the level, a grader, bulldozer, dump trucks, and these are $1 million equipment, $1 million equipment that I use to build this policy regulation, illustrations of home people and their crevices, the crevices of services that's been seeping the corruption into a cold store on Tapatio in Kennewick, Washington, the mighty Columbia River, the mighty Priest Lakes, the mighty George Washington House in 42 C Street Northwest and 35 C Street Northwest, Grand County Courthouse, which is across the street. Policy regulation, the emblems of the service and policy regulations, bringing the archive and service of policy regulations and policy regulation and service at a federal courthouse at 825 Jad. Mr. Ron List and Norman Reeves. Now we got this testimony of Mr. George Bush, Sr., Jr., and Obama, and Bill Clinton, and of course, Jimmy Carter. These are live testimony, affidavit services. This is Broken Hill Retirement Center. You know, Von Trump carried her testimony and service in the backyard, in the front yard of Donald Trump, right in front of McKenna Law Firm. Mr. McKenna and Carla McKenna have gone a long, long way in their service and administration. We got George Bush, and we got 43rd President, Mr. Joe Biden, sitting in the Society Administration Office. Care much of the service of the center, of a representative service in the President of the United States of America, carrying that affidavit in the policy regulation service. Carrying much of that affidavit in the service administration office, you can see the picture of Melania, Queen of London, the Miller's jewelry store that's been used, putting on draping her with all this jewelry and service, and also that red little cross that I carry around on my laptop that's on the Queen of London's chest. See the chest that's on her chest. It matches the same thing as the chest emblems of the chest on her chest. It's the same on her chest, the Queen of London. She's powerful. She's very powerful. She's very wicked. She's the most dangerous woman on the planet. Matter of fact, Mr. Donald Trump's standing right next to her, and Melania standing next to her. She's the most dangerous woman in the world on this planet, and of course, the other planets that exist on this planet. She's the most powerful woman on the planet. Bill Gates has pictures of the Queen taking pictures of Bill Gates because the founder and service of the administration of the contaminants and service of the COVID-19 executive order has been embedded from this tree here in McKenna Law Firm. Also, Sunset Acres have that tree image. We got in Sway. Melania Trump, Donald Trump, she has testimony. She wants that picture, Increment Society, conversation, that video conversation, and policy regulate how they killed Donald Trump. Made off and walked off her body of service and come here to McKenna Law Firm and threatened Mrs. Carla McKenna, and the service policy regulations. Making testimony and witnesses. 43rd President of the United States, George Bush. Tri-Cities, Washington, Texas, Air Force One, Doomsday, Nebraska. See, and the 43rd President of the United States bringing witness and testimony. Mr. Joe Boyd. Well, Mr. Joe, Stephanie, and Biden. We got the monuments of the Mueller's Freeman on 14 West Side Freeman, the monuments of service. All their headstones of monuments of service pertaining to information, contents of information, policy regulations, privacy enactments. And when she wants protection, she gets protection. That's going to be very individual conversation COVID executive order. And then we take the data and information and archive this information and take all the soil and compost and the nutrients and neutralize all these trees and stop them, because I trimmed all down, and of course we're going to lay some soil on all of these trees and make all the individual conversation and policy regulation of how they like coming in here and penetrating people in such a way with their intimidation services out of the Ken law firm. Then we're going to make a little chute for these deer. They have fruits. The deer are plentiful. The deer are healthy now. Contain all the fruit and service from the election campaign. Take this election campaign, the saturated fruit and ballot forms, and Donald J. Melania Trump and policy regulations that purchase transactions of the lawnmower, and then downloading, submitting, calling the White House, calling the FBI, calling the Kennewick Benton County Justice Department, calling 911 dispatch on the phone, and then serving the policy regulation of best equipment, best buy equipment, office max equipment, supplies, break-proof, drop-proof, insurance coverage, and taking the pictures and photos, imaging, and dialing all that from Donald Trump, Melania Trump, Obama, George Bush Sr., Jr., Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Jimmy Carter, taking these testimonies and photographs and confirmation, FedEx confirmation, and there's the 5 heads of government. One's the Vice President, one's Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, Mr. George Bush Sr., and Mr. Nixon. Authorizing that personal information and data, bringing that testimony and service, and bringing that administration office and 43rd President of the United States, bringing that testimony and services and policy regulation in the administration office, the Queen of London, and also the Melania Trump, Eric Trump Jr., Donald Trump Jr., and also Tiffany Trump, and their manifesto for service administration office, downloading this pictures of Donald Trump, Melania Trump, and Ivanka. I'm bringing this information center to a bunch of testimony. Take these photographs, videos, URL, because the compromise of their information is solitude. See these 4 heads of government installed? Because they got photographs and policy regulations of the area they're paying services. Donald Trump, Melania Trump, Ivanka Trump, Melania Trump, and Donald Trump. See this photographs and URL information that carries executive order, 43rd President of the United States, Kenneth Washington, City Hall, UR video confirmation verification of 602-720-7. video conversations and service administration of URO. Of course, we got Donald Trump, Melania Trump, Conversation and Service Administration Office. Administration Office. Mr. McKenna, John Luke, 704 East Altamont, Lake Washington, also mother, father, grandfather, and great-grandfather, carrying this Monument Service Administration Office, Policy, Regulation, and Services. Queen Lund, of course. Fourth President of the United States of America. 5 heads of government. Vice President, 5 heads of government with Nixon and Vice President Ronald Reagan and George Bush Sr. and Jimmy Carter and Mr. Nixon. 43rd President of the United States of America and policy. 46, Mr. Joe Biden. President of the United States of royalties and services, carrying that much of the services. We got 8 bunker steel, 18 by 17, $963. We got brand, 150 divided by 5,000, that's 15,000, 10,000, 8,000. Total is $24.50. Policy, regulations, service. Get these photos, imagings, and services. Of course, the picture of Mr. John Luke Buchanan, Policy, Regulations, Services. Original number McKenna himself. John Luke Buchanan himself in Policy, Regulations, Service, and Policy, Regulation, downloading that original document. We have this imaging and policy regulation service. 509-765-4451, 509-765-619. This is what it's going to be and what it is, an administration office. And John Luke Buchanan carried this executive order, policy regulation and service of the administration office to his successors. And much of that amount of service to that law firm came in that executive order. Mr. John Luke Buchanan, and of course, the Vice President, he wants his consultants in service and policy regulation at a law firm. Buchanan Law Firm, 704 East Altamont, Lake Washington. And the services are guaranteed and warranted from Windows 10, Windows 11, 509-765-4451, 509-765-1619. Policy, regulation, service, bringing much of that testimony. Administration office and carrying that COVID-19 policy, regulation, service.